Hi guys! Today I want you to be watching this video to go over the stages of Kohlberg's moral development theory. So we've gone over Piaget for cognitive development, we did Erikson for the psychosocial stages of conflict development throughout the lifespan, and then moral development is Kohlberg's theory, and I think this one is by far the easiest. Stage names are really easy, and it's just an interesting look at how we perceive what is moral and what isn't. So prior to watching this, you should have completed the Heinz dilemma worksheet, which was asking about this character named Heinz, who his wife was really sick, and the guy who was like the medicinal person in town had medicine to cure her, but was selling it for like a really upcharged price. And so the question was, after Heinz depleted all of his resources and tried his best, legally to get money to pay for this drug, the druggist wouldn't budge. Heinz didn't come up with the cash. So is it okay for him to steal the drug or not? And then why? It's kind of like the old story of if your family's starving, is it okay to steal bread so they survive? And then there was all these other questions on like, what if it was a stranger? What if it was your pet? Like, right? And it was just you going through the process of figuring out what you thought. And so we're going to talk about the stages of moral development according to Kohlberg. So we'll talk about another version of it. But we'll talk about Kohlberg stages, which you do need to know. And then we'll use the Heinz dilemma to kind of describe which one you would fall in. So when we talk about, see if I can get this to work. When we talk about morals, a lot of people will talk about like ethics. And the easiest definition when I usually ask kids is like knowing the difference between right and wrong. Like, yes, that is on track for a very broad definition of morals and ethics, right? And when we look at morality, it's not really if you say yes or no, like we don't care. Would you steal the drug? Wouldn't you? It doesn't matter. What we want to know is, why did you or did you not think that it was justified to steal that drug? It's the reasoning behind it. And hopefully you're catching on, like that's the same with Piaget, right? Like he didn't care if the kids got the right or wrong answer. It was about like, how did they get to the answer? The why piece. And so Kohlberg's kind of, I think, reflective of it. Like it makes me think of Piaget and the why factor more. So his stages have really easy names compared to the other ones we've looked at. It's pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional, which is super, super simple. So pre-conventional, the pre-stage, the first stage. And so for this, we have that morality is based off of a reward or punishment, right? So if you're going to be rewarded, you think it's okay to do this, and that's your justification. Like, I did it because I was getting this reward, so it was fine. Or I didn't do it, or I think it's wrong because I don't want to be punished. I don't want to get in trouble, right? And so it's very simplistic, and that's like little kids, right? Like, we could have adults that are still stuck in pre-conventional morality. The only thing they do right or wrong in, or the reason they make any choice is, am I going to get a reward? Am I going to get punished for it? Like, that's my driving force. It does not deal with legal issues. Laws are a societal constraint. This is personally, will you be rewarded, or personally, will you receive a punishment? And so think of little kids. Like, the reason my kid doesn't do something might be because he's like, I'll get a timeout, or I'll get a privilege taken away, right? Like, that is his motivating factor. It has nothing to do with him and society's expectations, because that is far above his cognitive abilities, or even like, he doesn't even see the world from a societal perspective. It's just in our home. And so, or he'll do something because even if he makes the wrong choice, like he goes and steals a cookie off the counter, he would do it and say it was fine because he's getting some kind of reward out of it. Like, the reward is he got an awesome treat. So when we look at the Heinz dilemma of would Heinz steal the medicine or not, like I said, doesn't matter, yes, no, whatever. If you said, yeah, Heinz should steal it, and then I said, well, why do you think he should steal it? And you say, well, because it'll keep his wife alive, and then he gets to like be with his wife for more time. That is pre-conventional stage of morality. That is him saying that my wife is my companion and I should steal the drug because then I have more time with her. That's a personal reward to him. If you said don't steal it and I asked why, you said because Heinz could go to jail, or I could go to jail if I stole the medicine. That would be a pre-conventional stage too, because you didn't think you should do it because you didn't want to receive a direct punishment, which would have been going to jail. We didn't talk about breaking the law. It's just, I don't want to do it because I don't want to end up being punished for it. So caught, beaten up if the druggist like ran out his door and pummeled you, like, so you avoided it because you thought you might get beat up, or you might get the cops called on you and be put in prison. So those are pre-conventional stages of morality as far as how you justify or don't justify the stealing of it. Then we have conventional morality, and this is morality based on how other people see you. So this is society. This is society, the bigger picture, how people would justify it or how they would view your yes or no. So when we look at morality, this is, are there societal rules about it? So this is like legality. The only reason you guys follow the law is probably because of like a social pressure, right? It's an expectation. The laws are there for a purpose and you should follow them, right? Society thinks it's wrong. And we don't like everyone to dislike us because we broke the rules and broke the laws. Same way, like, part of the reason kids follow rules in my classroom is because, you know, everyone else has that expectation too. Maybe you have it's like, why don't I go to the principal's office? But there may be some of you with this conventional morality of, why don't you do this to Miss Bozak when you're mad at her? Could be, well, I don't feel it's right to do that because I know that that's not okay. I know that in school, that's not how we behave. I know that's not how we act. If you justify it in that way, you are at a conventional stage of morality. So for the Heinz dilemma, yeah, steal the drug. We asked why. You said, well, because that's what a family member should do. A family member protects their family and will do anything to take care of them and be the protector or be the caretaker. And so it's the idea of like being a good citizen. Good citizens watch out for those around them. And it would also justify like just societal expectations on what a family is or what like a good friend is even, right? So these people, we would say, you probably said no to stealing it for a stranger in this stage. You probably said, you know, like it's the right thing to do. If you use words like that, that would be a more conventional stage. Could have also said, no, don't steal it because it's breaking the law, right? Like, you know, laws are important. It's not so much you directly thought of worrying about prison, but it was just, we have to follow laws and rules are there for a reason, or like life would be chaos. So we have to pay attention to societal expectations, whether it's pay attention to expectations of be a good family member or expectation of don't break the laws because they're there for a reason and society enforces them. All right, and the last stage is post-conventional. And this is where you have your own set of like principles that are like bigger than society. You don't maybe always follow along with what society thinks you should do or what peer pressure or social norms tell you to do. You kind of have your own personal set of ethics. So in the Heinz dilemma, if Heinz or whoever said, yeah, steal the drug, because everyone has a right to life. Everyone has a right to live. Everyone has a right to this, regardless if they have the money or not. Life, if there's a cure for something, everyone should get it that is sick. And it's not so much that he just wants his wife to live. It's everyone deserves a life, a happy life or healthy life, because they're human. And so it's this universal ethics. It's for everyone. So people at this stage probably said, yeah, I'd steal it for a pet. Yeah, I'd steal it for a stranger. I don't care if I know them. If there's a drug out that can help someone and they don't have the cash for it, they have a right to live. So yes, I would stick my neck out on the line for them. And yes, somebody should steal the drug or I should steal the drug for them. On the flip side, you could have said no and still be at post-conventional morality. This is the idea that it's wrong to steal the drug because everyone's entitled to their property, even if you don't like how they're handling it. Yeah, the druggist seems greedy to some of us, but it's his drug. He created it, he found it, he whatever. And so it's his property, and you know that the law, like not the laws, but the principles out there in the universe is you can do what you want with it. Everyone's entitled to their own things. And it's that idea too where it's not up to you to decide what he does with it. It's not for you to step in and do something about it. So even if they're selfish, it's still their property. So once again, I don't care if you said steal the drug, don't steal the drug. I don't care what level of morality you're in, really. We're all probably in different ones. But it's the why piece that explains or could test out what level of morality you may be in. So for this experiment, when Kohlberg did it, he had some criticisms that went along with it. And some of his criticisms, well, my screen won't click here. Oh, I'm frozen. No, one sec. Forgive me for that. My whole computer froze and shut down. All right, so criticisms of Kohlberg. So here's the deal. He did his whole study mostly on boys. He only looked at giving the Heinz dilemma in his original study to males. And there was the question of, do boys and girls or females and males have a different perspective of how to explain morality or even how to assess a situation like Heinz? And so Carol Gilligan, she gets that credit to say she looked at Heinz' study and said it was flawed because there wasn't a sample that was representative of the population, right? So we talked about that with research methods. Your sample has to be reflective of the population, right? So like there's not just men in the world, there are men and women, and we're both out there making these moral decisions or rulings on things and have our own different opinions. So she took into account there are females in the world and wanted to compare, is there a difference? Because maybe there's not, she didn't know, but she just said it was worth checking out. And what Gilligan's research said on top of Kohlberg's was that males tended to have a more absolute value of morality. Like it was a clear yes or no, black or white, like that was it. Girls were much more into like the situational factors, like, but what if? Or this or that. So usually when I do the Heinz dilemma discussion in class, it's super fun because we never have that many boys in academy, right? But when we do, you can see the differences. But my girls will always ask stuff like, well, are him and his wife in a happy marriage? Well, do they love each other? Well, did he do this or that? Like, there's all these what if questions these girls ask. And my boys, they're typically like, yes or no. Yes, he should steal it because of whatever. No, he shouldn't because. And my girls have all of these questions about like the details and the gray areas and the situational outside factors that might play a part in their decision. And so Gilligan said, yeah, that's true. Overall, women are much more in tune to situational factors kind of controlling their morality and how they rule on things. And men are much more concrete in their answers of yes or no. They don't need all those situational factors, or they're just, it's not they don't need them, they're just not interested in them. They don't need them to make that snap decision. So I'm not going to play it on here because my sound won't play, but you guys need to go and watch this video because it is amazing. It is 12-minute, like little 60-minute clip about babies and if babies are moral or not. And I want to talk about it when we have our discussion later on this week because it is just a phenomenal video and you get to see cute little babies. But it's about, are we born with morality or not? Or like, bias is in here too. And we've talked about implicit bias, but it's, are babies born good or bad? And basically, I always think like judgy is a good word, or they use the word bigot. But it's really interesting to look at these babies and see that at the heart of these studies, it shows we are born kind of vicious and kind of like mean-hearted. We like things that are similar to us. We dislike people who are similar or different from us. But then it ends on this really cool note where it shows like over the course of time, society and influences have its effect on us and change us from these little bigots that are very judgy and mean to people who are different than us. And makes us more giving and kind and accepting of others. And so it's just a really neat take or like scientific take on how our morality changes as we grow and how society plays a really big influence. So it's that whole like not nature versus nurture, it's nature and nurture. And it shows how they both incorporate, they mix together to create us as these moral creatures we currently are. So please watch it. I will want to talk about it because I think it's a good video. If you can't get it to work, let me know and I will work my magic. It's just a YouTube link I'm going to attach onto these lecture notes and onto our weekly schedule. So enjoy and I will see you at some point soon via Zoom. All right. Thanks, guys.